What if I told you that in just 90 days, not years, not decades, but a single fiscal quarter of the soul, you could become entirely unrecognizable to your current self? I am not speaking in the airy, vaporous language of theory. I am speaking of the cold, hard reality of the furnace. I am speaking of the way you move your body, the way you command a room with your speech, and the way you handle the crushing weight of industrial pressure. What if 3 months from now, the version of you who hesitates, the one who scrolls through the digital garbage of other men's lives, the one who second-guesses his own worth in the quiet of the night, was simply gone? Imagine that in his place stood someone sharper, someone forged in the fire of discipline, a builder, a closer, a force of nature that the world can no longer ignore. That is not a fantasy of the weak, that is a decision of the strong. And if you are serious about making the next 90 days the most powerful, most disciplined, most transformative season of your entire lineage, then you must treat this message not as a suggestion, but as an order from the chief engineer. This is not a motivational boost. Motivation is a cheap fuel. It burns bright and leaves nothing but ash. This is war. It is a declaration of total hostility against the old you. It is a campaign against the habits that have kept you stuck in the soot of mediocrity. It is a liquidation of the excuses you keep recycling as if they were facts. 90 days is not magic, it is mathematics. 3 months of radical, uncompromising consistency is the exact amount of heat required to rewire the circuitry of your identity. It is enough time to compound small daily wins into a momentum that becomes an unshakable wall of iron. It is enough time to rise above the 99% of humanity who are currently sleepwalking through their routines, convincing themselves that someday is a real industrial plan. But listen to me, none of that happens unless you lock in, unless you eliminate every distraction with the precision of a surgeon, unless you remove every escape route and treat this 90-day sprint as if it were your last chance to finally follow through on the word you gave yourself. You have said you were ready before. You have made promises in the sunrise that you broke by noon, but this time you prove it in the foundry. A man who has truly decided to change burns his bridges. He does not do it half-heartedly. He does not keep a backup plan hiding in his ledger. He removes the exit. He makes retreat an industrial impossibility. And because of that decision, that cold, hard, definitive decision, he becomes someone else. Not later, now. For the next 90 days, your life must become narrow. It must become focused. It must be forged. Every single day you will stack proof upon the scale of your own mind that you are not the man you used to be. And every day your brain will be forced to rewire its own pathways to believe the evidence of your actions. This is not just philosophy, it is the science of the Iron Master. Your brain operates through patterns. Every time you make a choice, you carve a groove in the gear. Do it once and it is nothing. Do it twice and the machine remembers. Do it every day for 90 days without deviation, without apology, and without negotiation. That becomes your identity. Once the identity shifts, you no longer have to try to be disciplined. You simply are. It becomes who you are to wake before the sun. It becomes who you are to choose the labor over the comfort. It becomes your nature to go all in. 90 days is the gestation period for a titan. It is long enough to stop trying something and long enough to become someone. Let us speak of momentum. Most people never taste the fruit of their labor because they keep resetting the machine. They do 3 days of work, then they skip one to rest. They do a week of discipline, then they fall off the track for 2. They are always starting over. They are always chasing the spark of motivation. But motivation is a liar and a thief. Discipline is the only truth in this factory. Discipline does not ask how you feel. It does not care if you are tired from the previous shift. It does not care what the weather is like outside the mill or what your drifting friends are doing with their leisure time.
Discipline moves, and movement creates momentum. Momentum is the force that turns hard into automatic. It is what turns the friction of effort into the flow of power. Once you cross that threshold, once the habits click and the mind sees the undeniable proof of 90 days of labor, something flips. The work stops being a weight you have to push. It starts being a force that pulls you forward. But to reach that state of grace, you must go through the friction. You must go through the part where it feels like nothing is working. That is the barrier where the common man folds. I want you to remember this. Resistance is not the enemy. Resistance is the signal. It is the proof that you are evolving. The muscle does not grow without the tension of the weight. The skill does not sharpen without the repetitive strike of the hammer. The identity does not shift without the emotional friction of doing what you do not want to do. When the old habits start whispering you to stop, when the bed feels too warm or the work feels too heavy, that's the edge. That's where the elite separate themselves from the masses. You do not fold because you have already decided. A real decision is not about feeling good, it's about becoming great. Discomfort is the price of the next version of you. You will not get it for free. You will not ease your way into a transformation of this magnitude. You will pay for it in the currency of your own energy, your own focus, and your own time. But once that identity is forged, it is yours forever. It becomes your armor. It becomes your fuel. The choice is simple. Do you play with the idea of change, or do you become it? When you go all in, when you burn the bridge and lock the door, you force your nervous system to adapt. You force your environment to shift. You force your habits to bend toward the standard you have set in iron. Stop waiting for the path to feel smooth. It is supposed to be rough. Discomfort is the green light. It is the signal to lean in and keep building. 90 days from now, if you stay locked in, the world won't recognize you. But more importantly, you won't recognize the ghost of the man you used to be. The furnace is hot. The mold is ready.
There is a moment in every true transformation where you must stop asking, "What should I do?" and start demanding of yourself, "What must be done?" We have lit the fire in part 1. We have acknowledged the heat, but now we must build the furnace. To survive the next 90 days, you cannot rely on the random whims of your willpower. Willpower is a leaky valve. It loses pressure when the day grows long. You need a structure. You need an architecture so strong, so focused, and so unbreakable that failure becomes more difficult than success. You need to install a system that makes your ascent a mechanical certainty. I introduce to you the 90-day lock-in blueprint. It is simple, it is brutal, and it is absolute. It is not designed for your comfort, it is designed for your evolution. For the next 3 months, your life will be anchored by 4 pillars, non-negotiable industrial actions that you will complete every single day without exception. Each pillar is a specialized tool designed to sharpen a specific part of your machinery. When practiced together, they forge a version of you that is clearer, stronger, and more dangerous to the competition than anything that has ever walked in your shoes before. Pillar 1. The mental audit, the input phase. You cannot outperform your own thoughts. If the software in your brain is outdated, corrupted by the opinions of the weak, or cluttered with the noise of the masses, your hardware will never reach its peak output. Every day for the next 90 days, you will spend 1 full hour feeding your mind with calculated deliberation. This is not passive consumption. This is not scrolling through a feed and calling it learning. This is focused input. For 60 minutes, you will read high-quality books, texts on strategy, on history, on the lives of the great builders, or on the technical mastery of your craft. You will reflect deeply on your own actions. You will write down your insights in a ledger of progress. Most people operate on autopilot. They consume the digital junk of the headlines and wonder why their thoughts are shallow. Their minds are like unkept warehouses, filled with distractions and negativity. But your mind is now a precision instrument. 1 hour a day of deep study does more than just give you information, it rewires your identity. Over 90 days, you are downloading a new operating system. You will find yourself speaking differently. You will notice that you move with a different posture. Why? Because your mind has been fed on purpose rather than junk. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are strategizing your way through it. Pillar 2, the physical engine, the power plant. The body is the furnace that fuels the mind. The mind is the commander, but the engine room is the power plant. If your engine room is neglected, if the boilers are cold and the pipes are rusted, your mental focus will crack. Your drive will slip. Your standards will lower because you lack the physical energy to uphold them. Every day for the next 90 days, you will train. Minimum 30 minutes, ideally 60. We are not training for aesthetics alone. We are training for discipline and endurance. You can lift, you can run, you can box, or you can hike, but you will move. You do not need a luxury gymnasium. You do not need a personal trainer to coddle you. You do not even need a playlist to motivate you. You need a commitment to intensity. Every drop of sweat is a decision made in the physical world. I do not negotiate with my own weakness. When you push your body through the part where it wants to quit, you are training your mind to do the same in the boardroom and the marketplace. Sweat out the doubt. Build a tolerance for the uncomfortable. Soon, your body becomes an anchor of standards. It will carry your weight, and it will carry your vision. Pillar 3, the mission block, the production line. This is where the majority of men fail. They wake up and they let life happen to them. They answer the calls of others. They respond to the emergencies of others. They become a small gear in someone else's machine. For the next 90 days, you will reverse this. You will give your craft, your business, or your calling 90 minutes of uninterrupted deep work every single day. No phone, no digital noise, no checking in, just you and the production line. If you are a builder, you build. If you are a closer, you close. If you do not yet know what your mission is, then finding it becomes the mission. You will spend those 90 minutes researching, journaling, and trying new ventures until the clarity arrives. Why 90 minutes? Because the average man does not give his own dreams 90 minutes a week. In 90 days, this daily block compounds into 135 hours of high-intensity mastery. This is where you build the invisible empire. This is where you create the value that they cannot see yet, but they will feel the weight of it when you finally bring it to the market. Pillar 4, the stillness protocol, the calibration. If your mind is never still, your potential is never clear. In a world of constant stimulation, where your phone is a parasite on your attention, your ability to sit in silence is your greatest competitive advantage. Every single day, for 20 minutes, you will sit in absolute stillness. No phone, no input, no talking. Just you, your breath, and your presence. This is where you defragment your internal drive. This is where the stress of the production line dissolves and the clarity of the next move emerges. Stillness is not inactivity, it is sharpening the blade. It is where your ideas take form and where your obsession becomes calibrated. The elite understand that stillness is the foundation of intelligent execution. If you cannot sit with yourself for 20 minutes without reaching for a distraction, you are not a master of your own mind. You are a slave to your nervous system. The fifth commandment, no negotiation. This is the code that holds the 4 pillars together. This is where talk becomes transformation. No negotiation means you don't miss days. You don't make excuses for the weather, the economy, or your mood. You signed a contract with your future self the moment you began this 90-day sprint. There is no escape hatch. Success in 2026 is not a talent problem, it is a negotiation problem. Most people start strong, but as soon as the friction of the furnace hits them, they start talking to themselves. They say, just today I'll skip, I'll go harder tomorrow.
and in that moment they weaken their own identity. They teach their subconscious that their word means nothing. Not you. You will do it anyway. You will do it when it's boring. You will do it when it's inconvenient, especially when it's inconvenient. That is when the identity shift actually happens. That is when the future version of you starts to believe that the current version of you is serious. Discomfort is the price of admission for the next version of your life, and the payment is due daily. If you follow this structure to the letter, your life cannot remain the same. Your mind will sharpen. Your body will become a vessel for power. Your mission will gain momentum. Your presence will become magnetic because you have separated yourself from the scattered masses. You no longer need to be convinced to rise. You no longer need reminders. You just move. You just build. You just live differently. Because the man who used to negotiate with his own doubt has been left behind in the soot of the old life.
If you are serious about transformation, about actually becoming someone you have never been before, then you must make decisions today that you do not revisit tomorrow. This is what I call the 90-day decision. You do not get to choose every morning whether or not you will follow through on your pillars. That is how the amateur lives. That is how the old drifting version of you used to think. The new Titan makes the choice once, and then he simply lives inside the decision. The power of this phase is certainty. You must decide right now what gets cut from your life, and that decision must stand like a mountain. You do not renegotiate with yourself when you are tired at 9 p.m. You do not reconsider your standards when you are tempted by the comforts of the crowd. You do not water down your vision because your friends do not get it. You have made the call, and now the only thing that matters is the execution. So, let us perform the audit. What gets cut? The liquidation of distraction. First, we liquidate the digital parasites. Gone is the mindless scrolling. Gone is the constant low-value stimulation of random content that entertains your eyes but starves your soul. It is off the table. Your environment is your battlefield, and if you allow low-value inputs into your space, they will infect your focus like rust on a steam engine. If a piece of information does not multiply your mission, it is not allowed in your day. Every time you reach for your phone to kill time, you are actually killing your future. You are telling your subconscious that your time is worth nothing. In this 90-day sprint, your attention is your most valuable capital. You must guard it like a vault. The liquidation of drama. Next, we liquidate the social noise. Gossip? Gone. Drama? Gone. You are no longer available for small talk that keeps you small. Every conversation you have for the next 90 days must be an investment. It is either helping you become more focused, more aligned, and more elevated, or it is a theft of your energy. You cannot build an industrial empire if your energy is constantly being fractured by the nonsense of others. Most men are energy leaks. They pour their focus into the problems of people who have no intention of changing. You must close the valve. Protect your internal pressure. If a person does not fuel the furnace of your ambition, they have no business standing near the fire. The liquidation of substance. Then we must speak of the edge. Alcohol? Gone. Substances that dull the mind? Gone. You already know this truth in your gut. If you are serious about growth, about clarity, and about building power from the inside out, then you have no space for anything that muddies the mental water. Drinking might feel like relaxation to the common man, but to the Titan, it is regression. It lowers your vibration. It disrupts the deep sleep your brain needs to rewire itself. It softens the hard edge of your discipline. We are not saying never again. We are saying not in this phase. For this 90-day sprint into the next version of yourself, you need every ounce of clarity you can muster. You cannot navigate a storm with a clouded lens. The detox of the dopamine engine. Most men's minds are not addicted to distraction. They are addicted to the chemistry of distraction.
Your brain has been hijacked by the quick hit, the rapid reward, and the constant pings of the digital world. You have been trained to chase crumbs of dopamine instead of building an empire of satisfaction. Until you detox from this rapid stimulation, you will always find deep work boring. You will always find the 90-minute mission block too hard. You must reset your baseline. This means you must embrace boredom. You must embrace silence. You must retrain your brain to find fulfillment in the heavy lifting of focus, in the physical effort of the gym, and in the quiet growth of the evening audit. It will be uncomfortable at first. Your brain will scream for the hits of the old life. Good. That discomfort is the sign that your nervous system is finally healing. It is the sign that you are reclaiming your attention from the machine. Engineering the sacred space. The environment you build for this season is everything. If you try to perform a 90-day lock-in in a chaotic, cluttered, and overstimulated space, you will fail by the second week. You must clear the deck. Make your space sacred. Make it sharp. You are not building a vibe, you are building a launch pad. Your physical space must remind you every time you step into it, this is where I go to win. No more working from your bed. The bed is for sleep and recovery. No more multitasking with the television on in the background. No more random noise. Your space must be silent, intentional, and focused. Your room, your phone, and your laptop must become part of your operating system. Nothing random, nothing casual, everything by design. This is not just about the physical world, it's about your mental boundaries. You must protect your time from people who do not understand your path. This means deleting the apps that don't serve you. It means muting the group chats filled with drifters. It means stopping the reflex of checking your notifications every 5 minutes for no reason. You are building a container for transformation. Nothing leaks in, nothing leaks out. Every time you allow a distraction to fracture your focus, you are sending a message to your subconscious, I don't really mean it. And once that message takes root, your discipline will crumble at the first sign of heat. But when you wake up and follow through, even when no one is watching, even when it is boring, and even when it is physically uncomfortable, you are sending the opposite message. This is who I am now. That is how you rebuild your identity, one act of alignment at a time. Your mind does not need more motivation, it needs orders. You must stop letting your mood drive your behavior. You must stop checking in with your emotions before you take action. You must become the kind of man who moves regardless of how he feels in the moment. Because if your moods run your life, your results will always be inconsistent. This is the season of commanding yourself. It is the season of reprogramming your thoughts to serve your vision, not your weakness, not your cravings, not your fears. Decide right now, as the chief executive of your own life, what are your non-negotiables? What are you cutting today? What gets your energy and what never will again? Once you answer those questions, you must live inside the answer. You lock it in and you move. This is not discipline for the sake of being tough. This is about becoming someone who finally finishes the mission. Most people fail not because they are weak, but because they are inconsistent. They start strong, they get excited, they write goals, they buy the planners, but when the emotion fades, so does their action. And that is the core failure. They rely on motivation, which is an unstable fuel. You cannot build an unshakable life on unstable fuel.
If your moods run your life, your results will always be inconsistent. I have observed 1,000 men over my career, and the one difference between the Titan and the Drifter is not talent, it is the system. The Titan knows that he cannot rely on the spark of inspiration to move his machinery. Inspiration is a seasonal weather pattern, it is not a reliable source of power. To build an empire in 90 days, you must shift your focus from goals to systems. Most people fail because they are goal-obsessed. They wake up and they look at the mountain peak, and they are so overwhelmed by the distance that they lose the rhythm of the step. But the Iron Master looks at the engine. He knows that if the pressure in the boiler is correct, and the gears are oiled, and the pistons are moving, the mountain will be conquered as a matter of mechanical sequence. You must stop acting like the person you have been and start acting like the man you are becoming. This is not someday. This is now. You do not wait for the results to show up before you believe in your new identity. That is the logic of the poor. The logic of the Titan is to command the identity until the results have no choice but to manifest. You carry yourself right now like someone who has already earned the ledger. You don't try to be disciplined. You are disciplined. The anchoring of identity. Why does behavior follow identity? Because your subconscious mind is a pattern-seeking machine. If you see yourself as a man who quits when things get hard, the subconscious will find 1,000 clever ways to make you quit. It will give you a headache. It will give you a distraction. It will give you a rational excuse. But if you anchor your identity as a man who follows through, your subconscious becomes your most loyal employee. It will alert you when you are drifting. It will keep you awake when you want to sleep. It will provide you with the energy you did not think you had. The key is to act from that higher place every single day until your actions rewrite your self-image. It is not about faking it. It is about becoming it through the weight of evidence. Every morning you rise at the bell, you are adding a pound of evidence to the scale of your new identity. Every mission block you finish without checking your phone is a stroke of the hammer on the new mold. Systems over goals. A goal is a destination. A system is the vehicle. Goals do not keep you consistent in the dark hours of the 45th day. Systems do. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. What is your system for the next 90 days? What is the exact minute you wake up? What is the exact sequence of your morning flow? What does your work block look like? When is your recalibration moment? These systems must be so simple and so rigid that you do not need to think. You must remove the decision-making fatigue from your day. The common man exhausts himself by 10 a.m. just by deciding what to do. The Titan has already finished his first 3 pillars before the world even starts its day because he has automated his decisions. He does not ask, "Should I train today?" He trains because it is 6 a.m. He does not ask, "Do I feel like writing?" He writes because the mission block has started. He has moved his behavior out of the realm of emotion and into the realm of industrial routine. The law of data, the ledger of truth. To support these systems, you must track them with the cold eye of an auditor. If you do not track it, it did not happen. Your brain will lie to you. It is a biological survival mechanism designed to protect your ego. It will tell you that you are doing better than you are. It will conveniently forget the workout you skipped or the 30 minutes you spent scrolling during your mission block. It will rewrite your story to make you feel like a hero while you are still a drifter. But numbers do not lie. Data does not care how you felt about the day. If it is on the tracker, it is a fact. If it is not, it is a vapor. You must build a habit tracker. You must print a calendar and mark it with a heavy black X every day you complete your 4 pillars. Why? Because the human brain is a momentum-driven engine. It loves the sight of a chain of wins. That little check mark is a hit of dopamine tied to discipline, not distraction. It builds a quiet internal confidence that money cannot buy. When you see a string of 30 X's on your wall, you will think twice before skipping. You will hesitate before going to bed without finishing your work, because you will see the physical cost of breaking the chain. That visible cost is what keeps you aligned when the hype has vanished. Bookending the day. To lock in for 90 days, you must make the first hour and the last hour of your day sacred. These are your non-negotiable zones. Your morning is for priming. It is the time where you stoke the furnace. You read, you move, you sit in stillness, and you set your intention. You do not let the world into your head during this hour.
No news, no messages, no noise. You are the commander, and you are reviewing the battle plan before the first shot is fired. Your evening is for reflection. It is the inventory phase. You audit the day. You look at the tracker. You plan the top 3 moves for tomorrow. You cut out the stimulation. You wind down the machinery so that the subconscious can begin its nightly work of rewiring. If you bookend your day with discipline, the middle, the war zone, will take care of itself. You will move through the chaos of the marketplace with a stable center. You will not be tossed about by the whims of others because you are anchored in your own rhythm. The identity anchor in crisis. When the day gets hard, and it will get hard, you must go back to your identity anchor. Ask yourself the Iron Master's question: what would the man I am becoming do right now? Would he skip the habit because he is busy? Would he scroll through his phone because he is tired? Would he let a temporary setback dictate his permanent mood? The answer is always there, waiting in the silence. The more often you choose the answer of the future version of yourself, the faster you become him. Discipline is not about being perfect. It is about being unshakable in your rhythm. It is about removing the negotiation from your life. You do not ask yourself if you will work. You do not ask if you will train. You do it because that is who you are now. You have burned the old blueprint. You have built a new one. And now you are simply the operator of the machine.
You are going to hit 3 walls on this 90-day path. I tell you this not to discourage you, but to prepare you. In the world of the Iron Master, we do not hope for smooth sailing. We expect the storm, and we reinforce the hull. Transformation is not a linear climb. It is a series of structural tests. No man walks into a new life without facing the ghosts of his old one. The real question is not, will it get hard? The question is, will you keep the engine running when the visibility drops to 0? Transformation always demands resistance. If there is no resistance, there is no growth. If the furnace is not hot, the iron remains brittle. You must understand the timing of these walls so that when you strike them, you do not see them as signs of failure, but as evidence of progress. The first wall, the friction of the start. Day 7 to day 14. The first wall comes fast, usually between the end of your first week and the middle of your second. This is the honeymoon liquidation. The initial excitement of starting a new project has evaporated. The dopamine of the fresh start is gone. The novelty has worn off, and now it's just you, the cold floor at 5 a.m., and the old self trying to pull you back into the soot. You will hear voices in your head, whispers of the ghost you were trying to bury. It will say, "This is too much. You've done well for 7 days. You've earned a break. Just one morning of sleeping in won't hurt the ledger." That is not truth. That is treason. This first wall is the most important test of your initial momentum. It is where your brain checks to see if you are a tourist or a titan. You do not fight this wall with a loud shout. You fight it with silent, relentless execution. You walk through it one disciplined action at a time. Every rep you finish when you want to quit, and every page you read when your eyes are heavy, is a chip off the old block. You are building a new mind, and the old one feels its own death approaching. That is why it resists. Lean into the friction. The second wall, the desert of boredom, day 30 to day 45. If you survive the first 2 weeks, you will hit the second wall around the 1-month mark. This wall is far more dangerous because it is sneaky. You are no longer struggling with the pain of the start, you are struggling with the monotony of the grind. The routine has become repetitive. The mission blocks feel numb. There is no applause from the world yet. Your bank account hasn't yet reflected your new discipline. Your body has changed, but the mirror hasn't fully registered it. This is the desert of the soul. This is where most men quit, not because they can't handle the work, but because they lose faith in the process. They ask, is this even working? Maybe I should pivot. Maybe I should change my strategy. Understand this. The enemy at day 30 is distraction. It is the temptation to start over on something new just to feel the spark of excitement again. But greatness is found in the boredom. It is found in the ability to show up and perform with excellence when no one is watching and nothing is changing. What you do not see is that under the surface, everything is shifting. Your nervous system is stabilizing. Your obsession is becoming calibrated. Your subconscious is finally accepting the new blueprint as the only reality. You must keep the hammer moving in the silence. The breakthrough is the interest paid on the boredom. The third wall, the final purge, day 60 to day 75. If you reach day 60, you have entered the rebirth zone. You wake up and you feel different. You are sharper, you are quieter. You speak less because you are doing more. Your habits no longer feel like effort, they feel like identity. But then the third wall hits. This is the identity crisis. The old world, your old friends, your old environment, and your old fears will make one final violent attempt to reclaim you. You will face a crisis of environment. Someone from your past will reappear. An old temptation will present itself in a new, attractive mask. A major external setback will occur. A deal will fall through, or a piece of machinery will break, just to see if you will revert to your old reactive self. This is the final audit. The law is asking, are you truly this new man, or are you just a man who had a good 60 days? This is where you must be stone cold. You must recognize the crisis for what it is, the last gasp of a dying version of you. Do not react with the old patterns of panic or frustration. Act with the quiet authority of the Titan. Handle the crisis, maintain the pillars, and stay in the rhythm. Once you pass this wall, you are no longer transforming, you have transformed. The reward of the 90th day. The true reward of this path is not the money you will make or the body you will build, though those things are inevitable results. The real reward is the evidence. By day 90, you possess a ledger of proof that you can no longer argue with. You have done what you said you would do for 90 consecutive days. You have faced the friction, the boredom, and the crisis, and you have not folded. This creates a level of self-respect that money cannot buy. It creates a quiet power that radiates from your presence. People will feel it in your energy before you even open your mouth. They will sense that you are a man who has been through the fire and come out as steel. You didn't need the applause of the crowd to get here. You didn't need motivation. You didn't even need to feel ready. You simply stayed in the structure. You stayed in the furnace, and now the world won't be able to deny what you have become.
There is a moment, if you stay in the furnace long enough, where the effort starts to feel different. The habits no longer feel like a weight you were dragging. They start to feel like the very air you were breathing. The resistance softens, and the voice that once whispered, "This is too hard," is replaced by a deeper, colder resonance that says, "This is who I am now." This is not a mood. This is not motivation. This is the shift of identity, and it is achieved through the industrial application of auto-suggestion. Understand this. Your subconscious mind is a faithful employee. It does not have the capacity to argue with the chief engineer. It does not know the difference between a physical reality and a thought that is repeated with high-frequency emotion. If you tell your subconscious for 90 days that you are a builder, a closer, and a man of iron discipline, it has no choice but to reorganize your entire nervous system to match that decree. But you must understand the mechanics of the impression. You cannot simply whisper a wish and expect the gears to turn. You must imprint the mind. This is why the 90-day lock-in is not merely a physical challenge, it is a programming phase. The vibration of command. Every morning during your first pillar, your mental hour, you are not just reading, you are encoding. You are feeding your mind the raw materials of the man you are becoming. What you do daily becomes what you believe, and what you believe shapes how you move, how you speak, and what you will tolerate from the world. When you sit in your stillness protocol, you are practicing identity anchoring. You are taking the new version of yourself and you are anchoring it to your breath. You are visualizing your 90-day results as if they are already sitting in your warehouse. You are not hoping for a breakthrough, you are rehearsing a fact. The more often you repeat this, the more you speak your reset phrases, the more you read your ledger of goals, the more your thoughts begin to shift. And once the thoughts shift, the habits follow. Once the habits follow, the outcomes shift. This is the industrial sequence of success. It is not a matter of luck, it is a matter of consistency. The science of repetition. Napoleon Hill discovered that the mind requires rhythm to build a permanent habit. If you do something for 3 days and skip 2, you are resetting the code. You are confusing the machinery. You are telling your subconscious that your commands are optional. But when you hit day 60, day 70, day 80, you are no longer forcing the work. You are breathing it. You have created what I call a mental groove. The thought of skipping a workout or missing a work block becomes physically uncomfortable to you. Your subconscious now sees inactivity as a threat to its new identity. This is the goal of the 90-day lock-in, to reach the point of automaticity. You want to reach the day where you wake up and you move towards your mission with the same unthinking certainty you used to move towards your distractions. The master's reset phrase. When the old world calls to you, and it will, you must have a reset phrase, a short, sharp command that snaps your focus back to the blueprint. Andrew Carnegie had a phrase, Edison had a phrase, you must have yours. It could be as simple as, I said 90, not 9. 9 days of effort changes nothing. It is a tourist's sprint. But 90 days of relentless, aligned, and locked-in execution rewrites your history. When your mind starts to negotiate, when it begs for an exit hatch, you speak your phrase, you anchor, you breathe, you get back to the hammer. The sound of a heavy steam press thudding, slow, deep, and final. The substance of self-respect. Every time you keep the word you gave to yourself when you wanted to quit, you gain something that money cannot buy: self-respect. Most men have no self-respect because they have spent a lifetime lying to themselves. They make resolutions they don't keep. They set goals they don't pursue. They have taught their own subconscious that their voice carries no authority. But not you. Through this 90-day war, you are rebuilding your self-respect from the ground up. You are proving to yourself that you are a man who can be trusted with power. You are proving that your word is as solid as a steel rail. And that, my friend, is the root of all true confidence. You do not get confidence by reading a book. You get it by earning it in the furnace. You get it by looking at your tracker and knowing that not a single one of them was a lie. The identity of the builder. Say it to yourself now and let the vibration of the words settle into your bones. I am the builder. I do not wait for conditions. I create them. I am not hoping for a breakthrough. I am engineering it. Let that loop in your mind again and again. Let it become louder than the doubt. Let it become stronger than the resistance. Let it become more real than the old version of you ever was. When this 90 days ends, you don't go back to your old life. You don't finish the challenge. You emerge. You walk out of the furnace as a different creature, sharper, quieter, and entirely unrecognizable to the man who began this journey. The world will not need to see your habit tracker. They will see the results. They will hear it in the silence between your words. They will recognize the version of you they said didn't exist. Watch this video again. Study these laws.
Let them reprogram your very nervous system until you are no longer forcing the work. You are simply being the man who works. This is how you shift, not with a single decision made in a moment of hype, but with 90 days of becoming.
They won't see it coming, and that is exactly the point. The average man wants to be seen before he has become. He wants to post his progress. He wants to announce his resolutions. He wants the dopamine of the world's applause before he has even finished the first week in the furnace. But the Iron Master knows better. He knows that the most powerful things in this world are built in silence. For the final 30 days of your lock-in, you must go dark. Disappear. Let them wonder where you went. Let them guess. Let them assume you fell off the track, that you gave up, or that you lost the fire. Do not correct their assumptions. Do not defend your reputation. Do not try to prove anything to anyone outside of your own ledgers. Just go quiet and build. What you are constructing in these final 30 days does not need the attention of the crowd. It needs your obsession. The economy of energy. Every time you talk about what you are doing, you are leaking steam. You are releasing the internal pressure that should be driving your pistons. You are trading your industrial momentum for a cheap hit of social validation. In the final phase of the 90-day sprint, your energy must be a closed loop. Nothing leaks out to the critics. Nothing leaks out to the drifters. You are operating in a state of stealth mode. This is the part of the journey where the rebirth becomes physical. You are no longer working on a goal. You are gestating a destiny. Think of a massive skyscraper being built behind high wooden walls. The public sees the scaffolding, they hear the noise of the hammers, but they have no idea what the interior looks like until the walls are removed. That is how you must move. The power of the unrecognizable rise. When you finally re-emerge on day 90, you will not do it with a speech or a post. You will do it with evidence. They will feel the shift in your energy before they see it in your results. They will hear it in the resonance of your tone, a voice that has been trained in the silence of the morning rituals. They will see it in your walk, the walk of a man who has negotiated with the edge and won. The version of you they once knew, the one who was available for every distraction, the one who was a peer to their mediocrity, that man is dead. He has been liquidated, and in his place stands a sovereign titan. Becoming undeniable. In this 90-day season, you are not trying to be liked. You are training to be undeniable. The world can ignore a man who tries. The world can ignore a man who announces. But the world cannot ignore a man who has 90 days of proof stacked in his favor. When you speak with the authority of the work you have done in the dark. This is the core of the Andrew Carnegie philosophy. The man who succeeds is the man who can focus his mind on one thing to the exclusion of all else. For these last 30 days, the one thing is your evolution. If something inside of you has woken up during these hours, if there is a fire in your chest that you haven't felt in a decade, do not let it die in 10 minutes. Do not let it fade when the screen goes dark. The final commitment. Commit to the dark phase. Lock in. Build your systems. Eliminate the noise. Give yourself the chance to meet the version of you that has been waiting on the other side of this war. You are not building a vibe. You are building a launch pad. Everything you have experienced tonight, the high-pressure prose, the industrial metaphors, the laws of the mind, all of it has been designed to prime the pump of your subconscious. You are now magnetized to the frequency of the Iron Master. Go lock in. Go dark. Come back different. The 90 days are not a calendar measurement. They are an industrial decree. You stand now at the threshold of the most important season of your existence. You have listened. You have studied. You have felt the heat of the furnace.
But now, the time for preparation is over, and the time for construction begins. When you wake tomorrow, you must wake as a sovereign master. The world will look the same to the common man, but to you, it will look like raw material. Every hour of your day is a unit of production. Every decision is a contract with destiny. You no longer have the luxury of drifting. You have been given the blueprint of the Iron Master, and with that blueprint comes the absolute responsibility to build. The first command: definiteness of purpose. A man without a definite chief aim is like a ship without a rudder. He is a toy for the winds of chance. But you have anchored your mind. For the next 90 days, your purpose is as rigid as a steel rail. You are here to evolve. You are here to win. You are here to demonstrate that the law of success is a mechanical certainty for those who obey its rhythm. Do not look to the left or the right. Do not seek the approval of those who are still sleepwalking through their lives. They cannot understand your path because they have never been to the furnace. Their caution is merely a mask for their fear. Your obsession is merely a mask for your vision. The second command: controlled attention. The world will try to steal your focus. It will use the digital soot of the headlines and the trivial drama of the masses to fracture your energy. You must be the master of your gates. Your attention is the current that powers your engine. If you leak that current into distractions, you will never have the pressure required to move the mountains. Guard your mind as if it were the most valuable vault in the world, because it is. Every thought you permit to stay in your head is an employee in your factory. If it is not producing value, liquidate it. The third command: the final surrender. There is a moment in the midnight hour when the old you will make his final plea. He will beg for the old comforts. He will whisper that you have done enough. In that moment, you must perform the final execution. You must look at the ghost of the man who used to hesitate and say, "I do not know you. I am a builder. I am a closer. I am a force." The 90-day lock-in is not a challenge you try. It is a war you win. The sound of a heavy steam whistle, long, loud, and commanding, echoing across a vast industrial landscape. The Titan's awakening. Go now, close the ledgers of your past, burn the blueprints of your mediocrity. Mark this day on your calendar as the day of the first pour. In 90 days, the version of you that currently exists will be a distant memory, a shadow in the smoke of the foundry. You will wake up as a man who moves with gravity, who speaks with authority, and who acts with certainty. The world of 2026 is waiting for its next great architect. It is waiting for the man who refused to drift. It is waiting for the man who locked in. It is waiting for you. The mechanical thudding slows, slower, slower. One final massive thud. I am the master of my fate. I am the commander of my soul. Everything works out for me. It is done. It is cast. It is iron.